G'day guys, it's Mark here from North Oz, and that's right, the 2023 Hilux Rogue build is complete, so join me as I show you what I've done to it, but more importantly, what I have not done to it. Let's get stuck into it. Over the last couple of years of filming camping and four-wheel drive videos, I've had some people asking me what it is that I do to the exterior and also how I keep the vehicle from rusting. So that was the first thing that I did. I jumped in, gave it a quick polish, didn't need to clay bar it because it's brand new, but I recommend most people do that as a first step. I'll do it next time. I do it in 6 months from now, but I made a whole video on it actually, a whole step-by-step process on what it is that I do. Basically, I just went with a light polish, waxed it, make sure that clear coat is protected, jumped underneath as well, and hit all of the metal areas and all the metal surfaces with Inox MX4, especially the seam wells on the chassis, because if you're a Toyota owner and you've jumped underneath the vehicle and you've had a bit of a look around, you would have noticed that there is surface rust on all those seam welds, or on most of them anyway. So have a look around there and make sure that you've got that Inox on all of those rusty sort of areas to prevent it from getting any worse and becoming a problem later on. So that's the first thing that I did as a first kind of, I guess not really a modification, but the first thing that I always do is my little system that I do, a quick polish, a wax, and also rust proofing was the first thing that I did to my 2023 Hilux Rogue build. For months now, you guys have been asking me, where can you buy these North Oz Sandy Torp shirts? And to be honest, guys, I didn't want to release them as soon as I got them because I want to test them out to make sure they're going to do exactly what I say they do. Just like all of the camping gear that I get and the vehicles that I have on this channel, I test everything out. And this is exactly that. It has been tested and I've got it now live up on the North Oz website. We've got a website up there now. You can pick up this shirt. You can get these North Oz vinyl stickers on there too. I've made them as cheap as possible because I don't believe you guys should be spending ridiculous amounts of money to be able to support the channel at all. But if you would like to do it, the option is there. Like I've said many times before, I don't like keeping the content that we make here in North Oz behind pay barriers and paywalls like Patreon and that. I like to make everything available to everyone, everything that we make. And if you guys would like to support the channel through stickers and shirts or whatever, at least you get something back out of it. On the website as well, guys, you'll see that I've got a product section where you can check out all of the awesome products that I have here on the channel as well, with pictures and descriptions, so you can go ahead, click on those links, and they'll take you to the business that sells that product. So with that out of the way, I'm going to stop talking now, go over to my website, check it out, check out the North Oz website. I'm so stoked on it. I'll see you guys over there, and as always, I appreciate your support, you legends. So moving on to the engine bay, this is going to be a pretty quick conversation because I have not done a lot to it for good reason, so I don't want to throw out that brand new Toyota factory warranty, but I have done a couple of things to it, such as the Toyota factory snorkel. So I get a few questions about that snorkel. The first one is, how much does it cost? So for me, I paid $660.34 to be exact. So, you know, that's how much I paid for it. You may pay more or less depending where you are, of course. And a couple other questions I get is, how does it sound? It sounds good underfoot, under load. I get a nice induction sound from it as well. Makes it, gives it a bit of character, you know, gives it a little bit of gives it a little bit of sound when a little bit of something going on, because you don't get much exhaust note out of these vehicles with the DPF in them. And the third question that I get is it noisy? It's not noisy at all. With the window up, you can't hear any noise at all, so don't worry about that at all. Underneath the engine bay, I do have one other thing. It's not performance related, but it is a 90 amp hour lead acid battery, which I'll talk more about in the electrical section of the video. But just so you know, that is under here as well, and there's plenty of room under here for that battery. So let's move on to the next part. So at this point in the video, you're probably going to start to notice I've taken a very minimalist sort of approach to this vehicle, and that's because I'm starting to get to the point now where I know exactly what I need in my vehicles. After this is my third build now, and I just don't really feel like I need to have all the gadgets and all the gizmos and, you know, and all the equipment to be able to do what I need to do. So for the interior here, I've got just a set of, and I've used these before, they're just a set of that wetsuit style material for the car seat cover. So just like after I have a swim, I can just jump straight in here. I know I'm not going to ruin the very nice leather seats that I am a little bit ashamed about covering up, but they will be mint when I take these car seat covers off. So they protect them really well. And I've also got a set of molded, like the 3D molded sort of floor mats there. And again, they just keep the sand from, I didn't have them in my last build, and I did feel like I needed to spend the money on that. And they just, again, keep the sand and the dirt from, and mud as well, from getting onto the carpet hairs, which are just, it's impossible to try to get sand and all that stuff out of carpet. So having a good set of molded 3D mats, you know, they're all pretty much the same. They all do a very similar job. So, you know, pick whichever one you like for your vehicle. But again, those are just two things, just again, protecting the vehicle, because I want to make sure it's retaining its value. They're not cheap vehicles. So I want to make sure I'm looking after it and it's maintaining its value by protecting it. And it's, again, they're not very big expenses. And I just know that I can go for a swim, jump in here, and I don't have to worry about having to clean all the floors and the seats and the nice leather seats and ruining them as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's keep moving. So moving on to the tub setup. And this is a place where I've spent a lot of time and also a little bit of money trying to figure out the best way to utilize this tub space without having to go down the route of spending around 20 grand on a canopy setup. Now I have a little bit of a confession to make, and it's I'm missing my Prado 150 a little bit. And when it comes to storage, you really just can't beat a wagon, in my opinion. And I still maintain that opinion. The flexibility of the ute is fantastic. Having that tray and that tub is an awesome thing to have day to day. But, you know, when you're going camping and, you know, having all those extra little pockets and the drawer system, and also the nice flat roof rack and long roof rack as well, not just the short one of the dual cab, it just gives you so much room to have solar panels, max tracks, swags. You can fit it all on there. And I'm just finding I'm struggling a little bit with storage at the moment. But that brings me to what I've got on here at the moment to help me with that storage. And it is a front runner load bar system. I've been using it for the last month or so now. I put some little tie downs on there as well for my cargo box and my swag. I've used that in past videos. You can check out how I use them if you like. But yeah, I mean, overall, that extra storage was a must. I just found that once I filled up the tub with my fridge alone, it was pretty much half full. It was pretty much it, really. And I just found that I was having to use the back seat for different things. I couldn't even put my swag in here because it was just too big. So I ended up having to get these low bars just for an extra layer of storage, and so far that has been awesome. Now moving into the tub, I do have a couple of things I want to show you. The first thing is I have put a couple of tie down rails in here as well. It just kind of poked through the carpet, which I'm happy about. Again, I did a little install on that too if you want to check that out. But I've also got just a single Anderson plug outlet which links to 45 amp hours of usable power. But I've also got the factory, and I'll move the electric tonneau cover if you haven't seen that move before. But I've also got a little 15 amp, and that's from the factory. It's a 15 amp outlet there, and what that does, it's just like a little accessory socket, and that gives me around 20 amp hours of usable power as well. Now, I am liking having the flexibility of just being able to chuck my fridge in here. I just use a couple of elastic tie downs and then I'm good to go. So I am enjoying the flexibility of this setup, and I'm also actually really liking this bed rug, which I'll talk a little bit about in an upcoming video too when I do my 3-month review of the Hilux Rogue. But overall, that's kind of the setup in here. Not really anything too crazy going on. All I have to do is just really plug in my fridge, and that's everything I need for the whole setup. In terms of electrical setup as well, and what else I have to go along with it, because I try to keep my fridge running just off the lead acid battery in the vehicle, because that will just keep recharging and it charges up as I am driving as well. I'll show you in a second what else I have to go along with my electrical setup. So the second final piece to the rear fit out and electrical puzzle is this EcoFlow Delta, and I've been kind of toying around with more flexible options because the idea is I will have a couple of builds that I want to be swapping in and out of as time goes on. So I don't want to be bound to having all of my electrical setup in just the one vehicle. Hence why I wanted a flexible vehicle when I purchased it. That was one of the big reasons why I went down the route of having the Hilux. So this EcoFlow Delta has got 100 amp hours of usable power. It's a lithium battery. The way I'm using it is I get to camp, I unplug from my lead acid battery, I plug into my lithium battery, and I just know that I've got a good couple days worth of battery in this. Not to mention the battery monitoring system in here tells me when it's going to, well, basically when the battery is going to switch off. So I know that once that's done and how much time I get out of that, I can then plug back into the lead acid battery. So just gives me a little bit more flexibility. This lives on the back seat with my other one. I've got a blue Eti EB3A, which is basically a small 20 amp hour battery, and that is good for basically what I'm doing right now, which is powering a fan in the carport. So I've used that in a video as well. I'll put a link to that too if you want to see how I kind of have been using these products. Haven't taken this out on a camping video yet, but I will film me using this in the future. But again, this lives on the back seat, so does that one. I use it to charge things like my camping lights and my, obviously my video camera batteries as well, my camera batteries, but it's also good for like induction cooktops as well, if you're into that. But for me, I'm not into that. I'm just more interested in just powering my fridge and my camera batteries, and I am good and I'm happy. So that's pretty much it for the rear setup. Let's wrap this up. So now that I've shown you around the 2023 Hilux Rogue build, I just want to stop for a second, and I want you to do a little bit of reflection as well, but this is a place for me to reflect as well and say, I can put a bookmark right here. I can put a checkpoint, I can put a finish line and say, this is it. This is all I need. I don't need anything more on this vehicle. And I think we get a little bit discouraged sometimes, guys. You know, I think as a community, as a four-wheel drive community, we've made it normal for people to go out there and buy four-wheel drives and think, because I don't have a 3-inch lift kit in my vehicle, I can't go and do this. I have to wait to have a bull bar on the vehicle before I can go and do this. I need to have a roof rack before I can get an awning so I can have shade. There's so many alternatives, guys, and we don't need to be stuck with thinking I need to spend tens of thousands of dollars to be able to go and enjoy what you like to do, which again is going to be different for everyone. Some people may want a $15,000 suspension setup to be able to go and tackle those tracks that you've had your eye on. But for me, I don't need that. And this is a point I just wanted to set right now in the channel and in the build and say, we can stop here. This can be the place where we can just say, I've got the electrical that I need for a multi-day and multi-week trip, which I do have coming, I do have it planned. And I've got the interior protected. I've got enough electrical, like I said. I've got enough storage. I've got enough, you know? And I think that, yeah, like I said, it's becoming a common trend in this community that we need to keep spending more and more money, but we don't have to. So what I would like you guys to do, I'll leave you with a little thinking point before we go. Just have a think about what you want to get out of your vehicle. What are the places that you and or your family want to go and do? And just make sure your vehicle is equipped just enough for that. And then spend all that extra money. And I'm not telling you how to spend your money because that would be very unwise of me. But if it was me, I would like to spend that money on experiences. So the actual traveling, the fuel, the maybe flights going overseas, doing something a little bit different. So to me, I think we get a little bit caught up in the spending on the vehicles and not the enjoying. So every little thing that I've done to this vehicle, I've then gone out straight away and tested it out, because that's actually one of the things. Actually, it might even be one of my favorite things about this hobby is that there's so many different pieces of equipment and there's so many different tools and different ways that we can improve our camping experience. So I love getting them, trialing them out, testing them out, seeing if they work. And if they do, great, I'll tell you guys about it. If they don't, then maybe I'll still tell you guys about it. But at the end of the day, I won't be continuing to use that in my camping setup. So like I said, to wrap up today's video, think about what you absolutely need in your vehicle. This is all I need. I may still do a wheel and tire setup for the track that I have coming up. But again, I feel like I could probably, and I almost want to push myself to not spend any more money on this vehicle, to just say, listen, I have tested it. This is all you need. So I'll leave you guys with that. I do have some of the products that I've talked about in today's video, like the battery that I have, and also the roof rack. So the tray rack. I've got a couple of those things in the description if you guys would like to check them out. So if you wanted to buy them, I get a little bit of money for that as well. It helps support the channel. That's about it. Guys, I'll leave you with that. I do have a review video coming up very shortly about this vehicle as well. And I've also got plenty of camping as well. I've run out and bought a couple of different weird camping items too. So keep an eye out for that as well. I might do some little reviews on them while I'm camping too. We'll see how we go. Alrighty guys, take it easy and I'll see you very shortly down in the comment section. See you there.